Hello, welcome back again to another episode of We Are the Podcast. Tonight is a review of what you would call a game of football, I suppose. SK Brann versus Rangers in the Europa League. Full squad back again after the past couple of pods have been down to a duo from the trios. How we feeling, boys?
Aye, brilliant, mate. Brilliant
Cool.
after watching that absolute nightmare. Um, I don't think this is going to be fun, put it that way.
Charlie, how you doing, mate?
I'm just going to put it out there just before we start the pod for anybody listening. I'm all for us trying to be positive. We were quite positive last night, but being positive when there's a reason to be positive. And after watching that, I'm not blaming the manager, but I don't know how we
Yeah.
can be positive about this squad of players after watching that, considering what we've watched this season.
Aye. So, right off the bat, I think for the first maybe 5-7 minutes or so, I thought we kind of looked all right. We looked like we'd maybe shaking away a wee bit of the Russell rust, but we reverted to type quite quickly. Our defence was practically non-existent the whole night. I don't think Tavernier was in his proper position for more than 25 seconds at a time that entire game. Chermiti, I really don't want to harp on a young boy, man, but he's no the answer, man. Raskin didn't look himself. Asgard, after his stellar performance at the weekend, reverted to type. It just looked as though the spectre of Russell Martin was hanging about. What do you reckon, Charlie? What went wrong?
Where do you start? So, I think it's going to take probably about 123 days to coach Russell Martin's stuff out of these players, to be honest, with the looks of it, because by all intents, I missed the first half. You guys have watched it, so you'll know I was working, but caught the second half. And from what I could read from what you guys were saying in the chat, and the general message is, looked good for 10 minutes and then poor for the next 50. And that was like 60 minutes. So that's basically a copy and paste from any of the other performances that we looked decent at the beginning under Russell Martin to just completely capitulate. I reckon I'm not going to hold anything against the manager. Obviously, he's had 2 days to coach these guys, 2 days to go over stuff, but that was an embarrassment, to be honest with you. Three winnable games that we've lost now against teams that we should have been beaten. And any other season in Europe, we would have beaten all three of the teams. We talked about this last night. Any other of the three teams we would have beaten in Europe, and we've been gubbed off two of them. I mean, I'm going to count that 2-1 as a gubbing because they went 2-0 up and we only scrambled to get a goal back. But
Aye.
that was embarrassing. And every
Absolutely.
single player to a man shouldn't be able to look at themselves in the mirror after that, to be honest with you.
Absolutely rock bottom of the Europa League now, -5 on goal difference. Does anybody get any pass marks for you, Stevie?
No, nah, not a single one of them. I'll start off just by echoing you two boys by saying I don't blame the manager for this. He's had barely next to no time to work with him. But first, as you were saying there, first 5-10 minutes, I thought we looked all right. Fashioned a couple of chances. I think Raskin had a shot blocked, and then he had a header just wide for the resulting corner. After that, it was you could see Brann coming into it, and we just, as you said earlier, we like just reverted to type, and there was next to nothing. Like I could probably sit here for about an hour and rant about how bad Chermiti is. I mean, we spend 8 million on a striker who can't hold a ball up, can't control a ball, and can't score goals. Like he's
If you're
he
spending
makes
£8 million in a striker to play in Scotland, he needs to be better than that. I don't care at what point in his development he is as a football player, or how young the guy is, 21 or whatever age he is, right? £8 million, he needs to be able to stay on his feet, control a flipping ball, be able to score a header for 6 yards
clubs
out.
like us don't have £8 million to spend on projects. This isn't the EPL or the Championship. We just don't have that kind of money to go. he might be good in a couple of years. No chance. Absolutely no chance. I just don't see it unless there's a massive turnaround. It's not going to happen. And like you're at the point where if we got a receipt for him, can we return him as faulty goods? Because he's just absolutely awful. And look, you can probably put some of it down to lack of service as well. But even when he is getting the ball played into him, there's nothing to
He's falling over
suggest
his
that
own
he
feet,
can.
man. He's sliding about.
Exactly. I don't like to single people out because the whole team were a shambles. None of them get past marks. I mean, Butland made a couple of decent saves in the first half. Don't blame him for any of the goals, but
It's a recurring
it
theme, though,
was
isn't it?
just it's a
I don't want to
recurring
jump
theme.
ahead, but that last goal, I just seen the highlight just before we started recording there. See the boy that's had the shot? There's two other players behind him in the box, no being picked up as well. There's 5 or 6 Rangers players at the near side, towards the near post, and the ball goes by every single one of them, and there's nobody picking up the 3 in the back. And the boys had a free shot. It's not even schoolboy defending. This is defending that if you watched a schoolboy team do it, you would think to yourself, that is poor. It's poor for even schoolboy level, that is. And these are professional football players on thousands of pounds a week. It's embarrassing.
Well, that's actually a good way to come into the actual, what I think the main problem with the team is, and it is the defence. I don't know how many times I've said, not in the pod, obviously, because we've only got a handful of episodes under our belt, but I've said to you guys numerous times over the past 2 or 3 years that Tav is done. Like he has the Tavernier merry-go-round where he'll have a couple of months where he shows signs of what everybody loves about Tavernier, and then he just goes back to the same old, same old. But that back four, that entire back four tonight, like, see, if we had other defenders, they wouldn't be starting on Sunday for me. Not one of them. But that's just this is our settled back four. Apparently, obviously Cornelius normally in for Giga. I assume the changes that were made tonight were with one eye on the Kelly game on Sunday because we're not getting anything out of this Europa League.
Nah, it's gone now.
What needs to change, Charlie?
Well, I echo what you're saying. I'm no being Tavernier's biggest fan. I do think he's a bit of a lightning rod, but to be honest, for the second half, I took notes, and in the first 5 minutes, I put it in the group chat. 3 times he's turned into danger and give the ball away. 3 times just in that starting period. All his set pieces, he was floating the ball in. They scored for a set piece. We had one minutes before that. It was just floated right into the goalkeeper. Nothing.
Aye.
Tavernier was too high up in the first goal. The ball, I seen the highlight of the first goal. I know I missed the first half. I seen a highlight on X. The space between him and Suter was ridiculous. He's so far up. We can't have a right back that's so far up when the defence is so poor, right? We just can't have somebody that sits that far up when there's no cover. So either you need to have a midfielder who is playing in that right-hand side in the defensive midfield who will drop in. Remember the way Ryan Jack used to do it?
Yep.
That's what we need. If you're going to have your right back so far up, you need to have a defensive midfielder who knows to drop into that position to cover that when he's so forward. And what you get when you don't have that is a massive gap for them to play the ball in. John Suter dives straight into the boy and completely sells it, and then it's a goal. It's just too easy. Again.
Aye. We could sit here.
There's no. Sorry, mate.
No,
carry
on.
There's no
Aye.
excuse for not having a defensive midfielder fill in for Tav at that first goal when you've got 2 of them on the park. But it's inexcusable. So the minute Tav's up the park, it should be either Rothwell or Raskin dropping into cover.
Yep.
Exactly the way as you said, Ryan Jack and Glenn Kamara used to do it, because people used to say, why are we playing 2 defensive midfielders at home to St
so we
Johnstone?
can
Well, the
send
simple
right
answer
back
is because your wing backs at that point in time, it was Tavernier and Barisic would bomb forward and put crosses into the box, so they needed cover if they lost the ball, and that just isn't happening. And that needs to be something that these guys work on, because Ryan Jack and Glenn Kamara were brilliant at it. They were really good at it. And I just don't see it. I don't want to criticise Rothwell and Raskin too much. Well, maybe not so much Raskin, because Raskin's delivered for us on a good few occasions. But Rothwell, he looks a shadow of the player that was bossing it for Leeds last season in the Championship, which is a similar, if not higher level than what we play at. You know, probably a higher level than what we play at. So it's inexcusable that you don't have one of them, and it's not that difficult. All you need to, they don't even need to communicate. All Rothwell has to do, or Raskin has to do, is go, right, he's bombing forward, I'll sit and cover just in case. You know, you don't even need to say, cover me while I run. You know, it's basic, basic tactical knowledge.
See, just what you to pick up on something that we both said there, Stevie. It's actually shows you that this team is screaming out for a destroyer. There, somebody who their their your role is to recycle the possession, right? Ryan Jack used to do that a lot. Recycle, he'd win the ball back, play a nice pass, keep the possession. We don't have a defensive midfielder who's really, really good at just sitting in front of the defence and breaking up play and winning the ball back and then just passing it on. We don't have that at all, and that you can
No,
tell this team is
and we don't.
missing it big time.
And do you know who used to be really good at it? He was only with us for a year and he got injured, but Lasana Koulibaly was brilliant at that until he got injured. He would just go in, he'd throw his weight about, he'd win the ball and just play the pass. Nothing fancy.
Doesn't
win
have
the
to be
ball, play the pass.
spectacular
Doesn't
25-yard passes.
Exactly.
Just win the ball and
Win
play
it,
2
play
yard
it 5
pass.
yards. That's you. You've done your job. You've nullified an attack, and that's exactly what we need. As you say, a destroyer, just a guy who's in the midfield to take no nonsense and just does the dirty work, basically. That's exactly what our midfield is crying out for.
There's no really much else we can probably say about that game, to be honest. We were dire, they were better. It's going to take a miracle to fix everything that went wrong tonight. Obviously, we've got some other big teams to come up, Roma and whoever else. But I'm dreading that. But I'm writing the Europa League off. Sunday, Stevie, what do you think needs to change for Sunday?
Don't know, and I suppose the worrying thing here is he's not going to have much more time than he had to get ready for the night. You know, like the night it has to be for the manager. I think he comes in and he obviously realizes it's a big job, but now I think he realizes it's probably going to be a lot harder than what he maybe first thought. You know, based on that tonight, because I put the prediction on the Twitter because I missed last night, and I said a 1-1 draw. I'd be delighted if we get out of there with a point based on how we've played in Europe this season. You know, and I don't know how much can you change in the space of a couple of days, and he's not getting the time because you've got midweek weekend fixtures. You know, pretty much all the way through. So he's not going to get a chance to properly implement them until I think we've got, is there another international break in November?
It's
You
like
know,
4 weeks away or something like that.
and
isn't it?
by that point, I mean, Europe's already done. We've still got Roma to come to Ibrox. We've still to go to Porto, you know, and you don't have any confidence that we're going to get results there. You know, it's just not going to happen. Whereas, and this is kind of a new thing for us, I would say, since we first got back into Europe. This is going to be a new thing where we're not used to getting beat off of teams like this. We should be sitting on 9 points out of 9 just now. Worst case, maybe 7 out of 9. We shouldn't be sitting on none. You know, it's it's just kind of I don't really know. To be honest, it's kind of hard to put into words without going off into a rant and
Aye.
effing and blinding. Do you know what I mean? So there's a big job to be done. It's going to take a lot of work to fix this, and you just have to hope that the manager can at least try and put make it hard to beat. First off, the other worrying thing for me is we are creating nothing, absolutely nothing. Saturday aside, in Pilsen, we have created absolutely nothing. It's not like you can go, do you know what, we're battering teams and just can't score. You know, we don't look like battering anybody.
Nah.
You know, so it's a difficult situation to be in, especially when you've got one striker who's scored a couple of goals in Miovski, and you've got you've got another striker who looks like he couldn't hit a cow's arse with a banjo. Do you know what I mean? Aye, I'm kind of lost for words as to where we're going to go and how this gets fixed, because it's a long term fix. It's no a quick fix.
That being said, do you think we just write this season off, Charlie? Is that it?
I mean, we've talked how much in the last couple of pods about Kevin Thelwell, and I know he faced quite a lot of fan backlash the other day, but that squad building is honestly abysmal.
He's your goal stat. He's your goal stat. Come on, you're choking to put it out there.
No, I tweeted that he should be facing war crimes for this. Honest to God, I know it sounds it's daft. It's like a daft thing to say, right? But he has assembled a squad of wee boys who are lost. This team can't take a punch. As soon as you go a goal down, they crumble. The knees just buckle completely. There's just nothing about this squad at all. Honest to God, I don't know what the thought process is. It looks like it's just been. He looks like a good player. He looks like he could be a good player. He looks like
stats in it. It's all
signing
paper.
them with no thought process of how they will cohesively work in a team unit, and that's just no there at all. I mean, you did pick up. I was looking at how many goals we'd conceded, because another 3 the night is a disgrace. 29 goals in 19 games competitively this season.
How many have we scored? Have you got that one?
I didn't even check how many we scored, because it's nowhere near enough.
Probably still single digits.
It's 5 in the league, 1 in the Europa League group stage. I did include the goals conceded in the qualifiers that we played earlier in the season. There was 1 to Panathinaikos, 2 to Pilsen, 9 to Bruges. We scored 3 goals against Pilsen, 2 against Panathinaikos, 1 another against Pilsen.
We scored 3 against Panathinaikos, because one in the away leg as well. But
yeah,
even still,
29 games in 19 games. That's how bad this defence is.
We've had this conversation before. We shouldn't even have got past Panathinaikos. The game should have been done. We're in the first half an hour. Like I was at that game and I'm sitting there and I turned to my mate and I was like, mate, how are we out of this game already? They should be so far ahead of us. It's unbelievable. And it's hard to see where, like, you're talking about the recruitment. The only one with any kind of real experience of any age that they brought in was Joe Rothwell, who I came out of that Panathinaikos game thinking he's decent, and it just kind of went belly up after that. He's not really put in a decent performance since. As I said before, the only one that gets pass marks for the season so far is Butland.
Yeah,
and that's just purely because he's getting overworked. A Rangers goalkeeper shouldn't be getting worked as much as he is, even domestically. Never mind Europe, but domestically, we just shouldn't be getting worked as much as he is. It's I feel as if I'm just repeating myself. Do you know what I mean? But it's kind of hard to say anything other than I don't really know where we go for here. What they should have been doing was they should have, in the summer, they should have went, right, we need to put a bit of experience, we need to put people that know the league in, and right away your quick wins would have been Shankland on a free, Josh Mulligan for Dundee, and David Watson for Kilmarnock. Right away, you've got 3 players who know the league, are tried and tested in the league, and they can play in the league. Do you know what I mean? It's instead of bringing these guys up for England who go, come up for England, up with a screw shop there. Do you know what I mean? And how many times have we said that over the years? People coming up for England thinking this will be a walk in the park for me, and it just hasn't been that way. So you've got to start. You need a kind of base core for this country, and then kind of work and sprinkle it about. But there needs to be more experience in that team. Tavernier's past that. What's your other option? Max Aarons, who's done nothing other than scramble in a last minute winner at Livingston, and he's not defensively, he's not great. And Tav's never been great defensively either, but it's kind of the lesser of 2 evils at this stage with they 2.
Honest to God, I know that Kim Tellwell sat there and went, "Oh, I'm confident these players will come good under a." Basically, he never, in no so many words, he said that I'm confident these players will develop and play better under a better manager. Right? That's basically what he sat there and said. We've had 1 game and they've been worse. I'm not blaming the manager at all for this. This is his signings. This is the players he's picked and deemed good enough. And the worrying thing is, if he's nowhere near getting like papped, then it's going to get worse because it's his son now that's the head of recruitment, and we need a full new defence. And probably, I mean, we're never going to win. We talked about this last night, right? You're never going to win games if you don't score, right? But you're also never going to win games if you're conceding 3 goals in a game, right? If we don't sign a full new defence and a midfield destroyer in January, this defence won't get any better. They just aren't capable of it. Then you're not. Then that's even looking at the other end of the field where we're not creating, and we've got somebody like Chermiti who's starting in a European game that we need to win, and the boy looks as if he's never played football in his life.
I can't get over how, like, I really hate. I know he's a young guy, he's our player, we've paid money for him, but I really hate being so negative about him. But
so do
I was sitting watching it, and I was like, the last time that I could remember a player going for big money to a club and absolutely failing was Fernando Torres when he went to Chelsea. Now, I'm not saying Chermiti is on the level of Fernando Torres by any stretch of the imagination, but the absolute pounding that Torres took at Chelsea for the way that he played there, it's an absolute mirror to Chermiti, like at us. Like he's just going to get hounded and hounded and hounded, and he's never going to be able to shake that off. Doesn't matter if he eventually scores a goal. Doesn't matter if he scores an important goal. All we're going to think about is this period of time where we've spent this money on him. We're never going to recoup that 8 million. It's a maddening bit of business. And if that's the business that we're going to be doing, I don't know if I trust these guys to get us the players that we're going to need in January.
I mean, where's the body of you're right in what you're saying, because the body of evidence we've got is the players that he's deemed worthy enough to spend £8 million on. Right. We won't talk about Fernandes because the boy's been injured, but he didn't look great when he did come in, to be honest. But then you've got somebody who spent £7-8 million on, and we talked about this last night. That's money that should have been spent on somebody with a decent goal record in another league. No, somebody that's a complete project, but he's so far off being even a decent player for our level. It's unbelievable. And that's £8 million. And at a time where you're spending money to rebuild a full squad, and we're playing Magoma left back, who was at fault for the second goal.
I think also there's a lot, for me anyway, I know you guys probably feel differently because of the way it all ended, but for me, the way that we had a project player like that in Hamza Igaman, but he also delivered for us. He scored 16 goals for us, and we let him go for a minimum amount of money that we probably should have got more because he had a falling out with Russell Martin. And it just leaves a sour taste in my mouth that we have went for somebody like Igaman, who's now flourishing in France, to this absolute jobber that's starting a European game for us.
And that's the thing as well. You said like Igaman scored 16 goals for us last season. He never even scored his first goal until November, December time. So, it's kind of, and he was, the difference there was when he was coming on in games, he was willing, he was trying stuff, he was bringing the ball down, he was taking people on, and you're like, this guy's going to be something. You could see it right away, even though the goals weren't coming for him. I see nothing with Chermiti to suggest that he's going to even be half the player that Igaman was. And the most frustrating thing is, as much as I wasn't a big fan of him, for the money we paid for him, he may as well just keeping Dessers there, because at least he scored goals. As much as
I hate to agree with you, but I hate to agree with you, man.
That game at Dundee last season, when he missed 13 chances before scoring, arguably the hardest one of the lot, you'd rather that than a guy who couldn't trap a bag of sand to begin with.
He slipped three times. 3 times he slipped tonight. At least 3 times that I saw, because a lot of the time I was looking at my phone because I was bored at my nut. But like, change your boots, silly stuff like that. Aye, stuff like that. Like,
honestly, there's no conviction. I watched a tackle where both Tavernier and Conor Barron both tried to tackle the same boy, and not a single one of them came out of the ball. It was a wee pathetic attempt at flicking your toe out to tackle. No conviction in the tackles. Right after that, Chermiti is poor.
Aye. I think you could probably just tar the whole team. Rangers are poor. and that's just the way it is. It's
And
going to be a
Poor's being
long
nice.
season, man. It's going to be a long
Poor's being
season.
nice.
Aye.
It'd be interesting to
Realistically,
see because.
sorry,
Sorry,
mate,
on you go, mate.
No, on you go, mate.
I was just going to say it'd be interesting to see what Danny Rule has to say in his post match, because obviously
we'll find out.
we're recording this. He probably has already put one out, but I've not seen anything because we've been recording this, so I'll watch it after this. But
Yeah.
be interesting to see what he says. I don't think he's going to come out and throw them under the bus the way Russell Martin done at Motherwell in the first game of the season, but he has to be absolutely raging. You know, like you could see him in the first half
Yep.
standing on the touchline, kind of pointing at people. You know, like move here, move there. You know, press and all the rest of it.
He
So
was a hell of a
he's
lot more
got to be
animated
absolutely raging.
than Russell Martin ever was. I think hell of a lot more animated. I think it was after the first goal it cut to him at the sideline, and he's like giving this kind of signal, like shore up the wings kind of thing. Like, yeah, he's got a monumental task, a mammoth task in his hands.
Yeah,
But that's his first kind of his first test out the way, and I think it's safe to say that the players have failed him and not the other way around. The next kind of test is obviously Kilmarnock on Sunday. We'll do a match preview. I think we're aiming for Friday night, but obviously it might be Saturday depending on how busy everybody is. But unless you guys have got anything else you want to add, I think we could probably just call it there. There's not really much else to dissect about that.
I don't have anything to add.
Genuinely, honest to God, this I don't honestly think. I think we could see the team look coached a wee bit better, maybe with more time for the new guy on with the team. But realistically, how much better are we going to get when we can't sign new defenders? To be honest with you, so this might be another 2 months plus of watching that. To be honest with you, more often than we should.
We can only hope that we can outscore the Dross in Scotland, maybe. With Danny Rule's magic tactics, maybe. If they score 3, we'll score 4, maybe. Maybe just claw a couple of wee points here or there. But I don't see anything magical happening for at least one transfer window. But again, that's not Danny Rule's fault. That's definitely the superiors, the higher ups that have put him in this position, even though he's only been in the door 4 days.
Even though he's shown them what he is.
Yep. So we'll be back probably Friday for the Kelly preview, maybe Saturday, depending on how busy everyone is, as I say. Thanks again for all the support that we've had so far. We're enjoying seeing everybody commenting, liking, sharing it with your pals and all that. Usual social media stuff. Make sure to follow us on all TikToks and no TikToks, we're not started a TikTok yet. Twitter, socials, all that kind of stuff. And we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Cheers.